Released in 1982, and this comes under several titles. It's The Dorm That Dripped Blood, Death Dorm, and Pranks, which is the title I know this one. This was kind of boom of slasher movies that came out in the early 80s, and it's a rather mean-spirited one. It's a holiday horror, which is kind of holidayless. It's set around a kind of Christmas break, I believe. People are having to stay behind at college as they are winding down one of the buildings and selling off a lot of the things. So we've got an isolated group of people. We have a crazed homeless person who's always wandering in and out of scenarios. He's our key red herring for the movie. And we have a group of people together in a kind of spooky, large environment that's empty, that are being killed brutally throughout the movie. Now, the characters in this one are rather one-dimensional. I did like quite a few of the actors and the performances. I thought were really well done, and I kind of liked the idea of the brutality of a lot of the murders that go along here, and there is quite a lot of them. Some of them rather unnecessary as well, which is really kind of weird, which I kind of appreciated. There's one moment at the start when Daphne Zunga's character, who's only in it for a little while, is about to leave this dorm. Her parents are picking her up, and I was wondering what was going to happen when this character was killed, which seemed most likely. Were her parents going to spend the rest of the movie looking for her? The killer takes out all three of these people in a rather brutal sequence, which is super enjoyable. And Daphne Zunga's death's just over the top and set me up for all I needed to know about this movie. It was going to be mean-spirited. The kills were not going to be easy on the victims. We were going to get a surprise ending. There was no breadcrumbs. Even looking back at the story, I can't figure out if there's any information to point to who the killer was going to be. And it just becomes a really kind of typical at moments slasher, but it elevates itself through a lot of the kills, and particularly that ending. The ending of the movie, which I'm not going to go into, is one of the most ballsy endings for a slasher I have seen. Really surprising, really shocking, and really unexpected. Doesn't that sound great? Especially for a kind of typical slasher movie from the 80s. When it gets to the final third, it takes a turn where it becomes, or the killer becomes, Captain Exposition. They have to lay out their story, why they were doing what they were doing, and the reasons behind it, because there's no information the rest of the movie at all, so they have to give it to us all in the final third. But then it just, as it becomes a kind of downhill, oh, here we go, they're just giving us out all this information, it takes a big upturn and surprised me even more. It's very rare to go back to a movie from the 80s that's really surprising, especially slasher ones, because they follow a formula, and this one does to a certain extent. But even though the characters are one-dimensional, I kind of liked them. I loved the kind of mean-spirited deaths that this one had. It's not super gory, but they are kind of vicious and unnecessarily over-the-top deaths as well. There is some blood and guts throughout the movie, and it comes together in a real crescendo of a finale that I won't forget. I never have forgotten this one. It has such a good ending. I'd love to know what you think of Pranks, The Dorm That Dripped Blood, Death Dorm, whatever you call it. Let me know in the comment box below where you think it lands within slasherdom, and why do you think it's as underrated as it is? It is a kind of low budget movie. It doesn't have a lot of the polish that some other movies do have, but it more than makes up for that within some of the story elements and some of the impressive kills that it does have. Let me know in the comment box. I'll see you next time on Man v Film.